stage, man. Well, did you see that? You see, I almost screwed things up yet again.
Oh, it's all right.
But
I still love you.
But I'm quick. I caught it before. So I'm hoping that, we're actually live. But this is Porterhouse and Teal Live, episode 17. Good evening. It's Monday.
17. Wow. We really went back in time, didn't we?
Oh, did I not include one? So it's episode 117 of Porterhouse and Teal Live. And tonight is Monday, we're going back again, July 14th, 2025. And so, yeah, it looks like Chicken Farm is in the house. 86 Chicken Farm. How you doing?
Hello.
Thanks for joining us. I guess we are coming through loud and clear. We never know how that's going to work out. Should have it figured out, but we don't quite yet.
We don't. It's a guessing game.
It is a guessing
That's
game.
part of the fun of it. We never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and we never know if anybody's going to show up, but that's okay because it'll just be you and I talking. And yeah, we don't often get a chance to spend time and talk, do we? Until we sit
don't.
Down.
We kind of go our separate ways. You do your chores, I do my chores, and somewhere we meet in the middle to go to sleep.
Yeah. Well, here we are. 1 week older and hopefully another week wiser. And we just went through another week of what feels like we didn't get a whole lot done, but undoubtedly we have been getting some things done because we've been just as busy as ever cracking around here. And how are you feeling about this past week? And how are you doing this evening?
I am doing great this evening. I am agree with you that this last week was busy with things falling apart on us and trying to manage to get them all fixed back together and maintain the household and everything else they have going on. So that, I think, is why it doesn't feel like we're getting things done, because we've had outside things happen that we've had to.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that. So along with all of that, we've got something coming up for you first thing in the morning. And I think it will be something that you'll look forward to having done, right? We've talked about this for some time. You're going to have a medical procedure. And why don't you talk a little bit about what you're getting done and why you're getting it done?
And no, it's not a facelift, even though I probably need one.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You're perfect.
I have what's called trigger finger. That's the layman's term for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it is on your fingers, in your hands and in your wrist, you have what's called a sheath. It's basically cartilage rings that hold the nerves and the tendons to the bones. And sometimes those nerves can actually get a cyst in them, and they can't pass through that sheath that's helping hold. So when you go to bend your finger, it will lock into place. And if you're lucky, you can unlock it, but it makes this popping sound because it's got to pop back through.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
So, and the more you use it, the worse it gets.
Yeah.
So I postponed this for a long time, and now it's getting to where I actually have to use my other hand to push the finger back out.
Right.
And it gets kind of painful. So what they do is they make a small incision in your hand, and they will go and they will cut the sheath, and they leave it that way because the cartilage grows back, but it grows back larger, allowing that cyst to freely pass through.
Mm-hmm.
In my case, I've had it done to both thumbs and one wrist, but they've done them individually. This time, I'm having both middle fingers and the ring finger on my right hand, but they're doing both of them at the same time, which is going to render me useless.
You're going to be a bilateral gimp. You won't have the use of neither of your hands for a couple of days. But fortunately for you, I will be here to, I guess, take care of whatever it is you can't take care of. So are you excited?
I'm excited to get that done because it's been really hard to open bottles or pretty much use my hands where I have to grip.
Right. Yeah. I just, it's one of those things, we're human beings. We are not perfect.
I'm getting old.
And we are aging, and that's things that happen when you age. I mean, things break down and occasionally have to go in and try to get it fixed. So I'm glad you're doing that. And I know that the surgery will be successful. This is a good doctor, at least so we've heard. And
Yes.
yeah, we can move forward, huh?
I had an awesome doctor who did my thumbs, and I really would have liked if he was in business. But as I had my last procedure done, he came out to my car and let me know that he had Parkinsons and that he was retiring. So I was sad to see that he was no longer going to be in business, but he has since passed away. So this is a new doctor for me.
Yeah. And so what did he tell you why he was stepping aside?
He said that he knows when it's time to leave and nobody needs to tell him. And he just knew that he was having difficulties. And so he was retiring.
I think that's pretty admirable for people to recognize that, and just kind of on their own accord. They don't have to get to the point where they're like Joe Biden telling them, hey, you shouldn't really run, dude. You're long past due. So I think that's a good thing that he did. And, rest in peace. But Michael McKnight is wishing you, prayers for a successful recovery. And good evening, Michael. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah. We talked in the last couple of weeks about, AI and the speed at which it's moving forward and everything. And it's interesting, but we got, I actually caught it on Twitter just a couple of days ago where Elon was announcing, hey, Grock's coming to Tesla vehicles. And you just got an email this afternoon, right? Indicating as such.
I did, saying that all I need to do is press the voice button in my Tesla and talk to Grock, and she can you answer questions and she will talk back to you, or you can actually, if you have children, you can have her tell them a story and they can be the main characters in the story.
Yeah, it's pretty way out, all of this technology and seeing it move forward at the speed at which it's moving forward. And I guess we can, we can pull our hair about it and lament how we don't like all of this progress. But I mean, it's just the way things are going to be. And it's happening so quickly that it's right on track as far as what they've projected. And probably moving a little faster than what some people have projected. But I think that's kind of an interesting thing. We'll get to play around with a little bit. So it's like having ChatGPT, like having a chat bot in your car where you can just talk to it and reference certain things. It's pretty damn useful. We used it when we were traveling in Wyoming, and you would just say, hey, I'm here at this mile marker on this road. Tell me the nearest of whatever it is you're looking for. Is what's the nearest rest area, or what's the nearest this or whatever. And it just instantly pulls it up. And so it's a very convenient thing to be able to utilize tech in that way. But yeah, it's kind of funny, huh?
So I love the fact that my Tesla can park for me. She does park backwards. I refer to her as a she because she's so smart.
Yeah, that's right.
It's got to be a she.
Yeah, women are smarter than men. That's for damn sure. All the things we do.
The one thing she doesn't do is park diagonally.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of curious how long it's going to take for that to come out.
Yeah. It'll be not a problem at some point. But Dean Mullis is with us. Good evening tonight, Dean.
Hello,
Thanks for
Dean.
joining us. Guys, I posted a video this last week, and it was, and when I looked at it, I'm like, man, I haven't posted a video for like a month. I haven't done any long form videos for about a month. I've been kicking back, kind of taking my foot off the gas as far as being a content creator. But as I had kind of explained, sometimes you just got to get things done around here and not really worry too much about filming every aspect of what you do on a homestead. And so I wound up compiling a video from some of the things that we've been doing around here, more or less showcasing how I've been integrating the chickens with Comfrey and using the wood chips to make copious amounts of high quality organic compost here. And I'm still making, I would say, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of, and this is finished compost, which is going to be much less than you would get when you're making like a 30-day compost or, an 18-day compost or whatever. There's going to be a lot more material that's contained within that because it still hasn't completely off-gassed and decomposed. But as it ages, it starts to kind of get smaller and smaller. But I make, finished compost that's anywhere from 8 to 12 months old when I use it. And probably about 12 to 15 yards is what I generate out of there, just by the use of integrating all of those things with the chickens. And so I posted that video here this last week. So if that's something you guys are potentially interested in, certainly go give that a look, because the videos that I've been posting here are kind of few and far between anymore, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So with that compost,
Mm-hmm.
the chickens love to get in and dig and kind of scatter that around.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the person that gets to put them up at night. And the one thing that just absolutely drives me crazy is they always seem to pile that compost up in front of the gates of their coops. And I'm out there trying to scoop it away so I can get them in and close. And notoriously, one of them decides that they're going to leave the coop.
They're stupid. That's what they are. They're stupid chickens. But Dean Mullis says he asked ChatGPT to design a handling area for 60 sheep, and the design blew him away. Yeah, it's incredible, man. You ask those AI chat assistants, whether it's Grock or ChatGPT or what have you, you ask it anything, and it's going to instantaneously provide a very comprehensive and cohesive, like, representation of that. I mean, you could do something as simple as, hey, what's a recipe for this? And boom, it's going to give you it. Or, hey, develop me a training plan for somebody who is running somewhere in the neighborhood of, 30 to 40 miles a week, and I've just started doing this. And then it starts compiling all of that. And then it'll give you an actual real, like, really well done training plan that you can build from. And it's just incredible. So I'm sold, man. I was kind of, at one point, I think I was very much, anti that, seeing that progress and things moving forward. But once I kind of realized, there's really nothing I can do about it, Would
you like Grock as much if it was a male voice that was talking to you?
I like it better that it's a female, but I like it just the same. I mean, that's how, yeah, I think I like a woman's voice more so than a man. If I have to listen to one, particularly one that's not shrill and pleasing, I have to be honest.
Can you be a little more perky for me? And she just perks right up.
Yeah. Can you pick it up? And then she changes the tone of her voice or whatever. Yeah. It's whatever your preference is, I guess.
I hear him talking away and I'm like, hey, did you call me? Oh, no, I'm talking to Grock. I'm like, okay, I've been replaced.
No, you have not. No, you have not. Michael McKnight says, enjoy the content on compost and chickens. Yeah, thanks for watching, man. I appreciate it. And also would like to hear more about the planting of the composting chicken yard. Hear more about the planting. So sounds like you're referring to the origin of how it all kind of went together. I've got some earlier videos that show the yard from a couple of years ago that are in the library for the chickens, composting with chickens playlist. So you could go there and maybe reference some things, but what specifically are you looking for as it relates to the planting? I mean, it's just a bunch of trees that I kind of spaced out in there thinking, these would work, and come to find out that some of them were probably a poor choice because of the size that they actually require for that space. And it was not probably the best use or spacing for some of those trees, but that's really what I've got planted in the chicken yard. And then around the perimeter, I've got different vining things that produce not only grapes, but just different various berries and things like that. Plus Comfrey's been integrated in there. And as well, I throw in a bunch of seeds, like some of the things that might sprawl out on the outside of the chicken yard and produce pumpkins and watermelon and different, squash and things. But that's essentially kind of what I grow out of there.
And right now you have a mysterious plant growing out there.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I need to probably pull it up on some app or something so I can identify it, but it's quite an interesting looking plant. I don't think the chickens are messing with it. It's probably something toxic as can be.
And there's a second one growing in what we would refer to as coop number 1.
Yeah, I saw that. So I need to take care of it. But anyhow, Yeah, let me know on that, Michael. If there's something you would like or whatnot, or you want to know about, just hit me up on it. But
So talking about chickens,
okay.
Eric had noticed, what's it been, a couple weeks now, that there is an egg over. Now this would be on the opposite side of our house. That there is an egg sitting over where our female sheep used to be. We were kind of curious as to how it got from the chicken yard all the way over there, because our chickens don't go over there. However, it is a white egg and not a brown egg, and our chickens lay brown eggs.
Yeah, it's a little bit bigger than I think our chicken eggs, and it has a different shape to it. It's a little pointier, so it's interesting to wonder what that actually is.
So I still want to crack it open, even though I know it's probably going to smell hideous because it's been out there for quite some time.
Oh, go check it out.
But I'm kind of curious what's in it.
Go check it out and get back to me.
Yeah, you need to get that chain unlocked so I can get in there. Otherwise, I got to climb over that gate.
Okay, yeah, I'll open it up for you. But yeah, I actually had a couple of folks from that last video that had reached out wanting to know where they can get some Comfrey. They were saying, "Hey, it's hard for me to find or whatever." And a lot of people sell it, but I didn't indicate in that video that we also sell it here. So if is something that you would be interested in, you can go on our website and check it out there at porterhouseandteal.com. And I sell cuttings as well as crowns, both large and small cuttings, as well as crowns of Comfrey. And I try to keep my prices below everybody else's because I'm not trying to like rip nobody off, So I think I saw what everybody else was charging and I said, I'll charge less. And so that's essentially what I do. And I try to, and I don't like to publish this so much because I'm not trying to give people false impressions as far as me, over promising, but I usually give people a little bit of extra too, because I think it's important so that people feel like they're getting their money's worth.
Yeah. Well, and you never know if something happens to one of whatnot. So they're going to get what they paid for
and then
possibly a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah. In most cases, a lot more. So it's all good. But anyhow, yeah, we've got those pigs out there that are getting huge, guys. I have no idea.
It's amazing. They smell like pigs.
They do smell bad, but I'm trying to keep them in check with the biochar. I've been adding that to their bedding, and that's had a dramatic impact in helping to absorb some of that smell and that odor from their urine and their manure. But I'm going to actually be out there tomorrow with a wheelbarrow, bringing some of it over and starting a new compost ring in the chicken yard. Because the one that's there, I'm not going to be adding anything more to that. That's just going to be something that I continually encourage them to work, keeping it wet, keeping the soil life in there, like the worms and everything active. But I'm going to be adding a bunch of seed to that pile. And then that's where those chickens will concentrate their activity, not only in that ring, but the new ring that I'll be starting tomorrow. But man, those pigs, we've got their graduation day, or at least their graduation week has been scheduled.
Their week, yes.
Yeah, so we'll be getting a call from either Drew or Frank the kill guy, and they'll come out and they'll process 3 pigs for us. But they're getting pretty good size, and I suspect in this next month they're going to get a lot bigger.
So I told you the butcher was on the phone. He was out in the public somewhere, and he was scheduling an appointment and referred to Frank as Frank the kill guy. And people around were looking at him like, what the heck is this guy talking about? And he goes, I'm going to have to give him like a new nickname. And he came up with other nicknames that would make him sound even worse.
Oh man, no. Let's see here. Mike's asking, would you plant herbs? Would you plant herbs in or around? We are planning to create a composting chicken yard in Florida this year and wondering what trees work best. I don't know, man, like as far as what's going to be the best for you, I would suspect it would, be something that obviously you're going to want to eat, that has some food value to it. But primarily what grows well in your area down there in Florida. I mean, it's going to be much different than what I might want. I've got a combination of like fruit bearing trees like peaches and plums. And I've got one citrus tree in there. I've also got a walnut, which was actually kind of a stupid idea of me planting a walnut tree in there because it's just the wrong tree for that space. But you know, you can plant a combination of nuts. I got a pecan tree in there. So it just really depends. What my goal was in planting those trees was not only the food value that they were going to give us, but the canopy. Because I think it's really important that if you're going to have chickens that are outside, kind of free range in a space, they've got the ability to have some aerial protection with that canopy from aerial predation. And so that's something you might want to consider, making sure it's going to be something that gives you, you know, adequate shade as well as coverage from aerial predation. And then generally speaking, I think having something that gives you some food value is a smart choice, but you can go with anything. I've actually also got a curly willow in there that my mother gave me years ago. And it's didn't do much until I put chickens in there and started making compost. It was several years and it just kind of like languished, if you will. And now that it's in there with all that compost, I'm constantly every year going in and shaping it because of the size that it's taken on. So things are going to grow well in your chicken yard for, you know, my experience. So just find something that works well in your area and that you like, preferably something to eat.
Now with the Pakistan mulberry,
Uh-huh.
you also tied that out, right? Which also helped with the canopy, but kept it where you could reach the fruit.
Yes. Yeah. I actually trained that tree when the whips from the branches, the main scaffold came out, and I kind of selected which branches I wanted to actually put some cordage on. And then I tied them out so that it kind of trained them to grow in that fashion, more or less horizontal rather than putting on vertical growth. And then come this past winter, when it was dormant, I went out and shaped that tree kind of in more of a fashion that was where I could harvest essentially from ground level. And I think that's important to find trees that are not only going to be something that you can work with, that's not going to be some 40-foot tree where you can't get the fruit and it just goes to waste. Because this tree would actually do that if I let it go. Because I mean, it is growing like you would not believe. It's like a weed in there. It just sits in compost all day and it's super happy. So
yeah, it loves it.
Yeah, Dean Mullis says that he also asked ChatGPT for a marketing plan for Comfrey along with a business name, and that also stunned him. Yeah, it's incredible, man. I mean, that's I just think that people are going to find you know, that they will be missing out at some point if they don't utilize that. It's just a resource where you can get information. And I think you still have to do your due diligence in realizing that you're getting it from a source that may not be 100%, you know, correct. But you could say the same thing about textbooks that we have in today's society, because it's all coming secondhand from somebody, right? They had to actually, oh, this is the truth. And then they put it in a book. So I think Grock does a pretty good job from what I've been able to see. I haven't really worked much with ChatGPT, but a lot of people use that, and it's just a technology that is going to be everywhere in the future.
Yeah. So I've just started asking it questions where you've been using it a lot longer than I have. Actually, you were kind enough to put it on my phone. So I do ask it questions. Maybe we have an overabundance of a particular vegetable or whatnot. And so I'll ask her for different recipes. And obviously, it may not be exactly what I want, but I can put my own spin on, but that's a base that she provides.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. Also coming up here, I think we mentioned this. I think I mentioned this in that video, is that we've got chickens coming. And I don't know if I mentioned this last week or not. I may have. Did I mention the change?
What we're getting, yeah.
I changed from the Barred Rock to.
Yeah.
Okay. So I had already mentioned that, but that's coming September 3rd. So I'm kind of excited about getting some new chicks here.
What I didn't realize is that you changed to where they were all coming at the same time. I thought that the first shipment of the 25 were going to come initially on the first ordering, and that the others were going to come at a later date. And to me, that kind of seemed like that would be a good idea, because the first 25 would start to lay before the other 25.
You're correct, but I don't want to incubate chickens any longer than I have to. So I want to do them all at the same time.
But they're so cute when they're little and fuzzy.
Okay.
See, that way you'd have longer time to enjoy that little cute fuzzy.
You want to do the incubating?
Pasty butt.
Is that what you're telling me?
No, but I already have to do the pasty butt part.
I know,
That's the nasty part.
I know.
You should do that nasty part. I'll incubate them. You clean the nasty butt.
That's why we're getting your hands fixed so you can come out there and do the pasty butt. Yeah.
Those poor little babies. They get all backed up.
I know.
It's terrible.
Yep. Dean says the same information is available in books and search engines. All of the AI collates and distills into an outline form. Yeah. No, it's crazy, man. It's interesting how quickly it happens too. I mean, it's like almost instantaneous. It's not like you have to like wait around. Sometimes there's like a little bit of almost like you got to wait like 3 seconds to 5 seconds for it to like compile the information, and boom, it puts it out. But most of the time you just ask it a question and it's like, boom, there's your answer. It's like, how did they come up with that so quick?
Didn't we ask her an argumentative, you kind of tossed it back in my court, and she just shut down. I can't even remember what it was about.
Yeah. No, it's pretty nuts. William Zegley's in the house. Thanks for joining us tonight, William. Lewisburg, Tennessee. Hope all's well with you out there, man. Yeah. So I don't know. I didn't tell you, but I took a bit of tomatoes to Brianna today, and I went out there and picked, because we've got still a lot of tomatoes coming on, and you're going to be laid up for the next couple of foreseeable future here with your hands. So you won't be doing any canning, and I didn't want to harvest a bunch of tomatoes and put them all over your counter so that you've got tomatoes in there getting rotting and getting fruit flies and everything else. So I
sounds lovely.
Yeah, I donated some tomatoes to our daughter today.
Well, our other daughter says that she's already eaten the tomatoes that I gave her. Yeah.
Well, she should have got some more today before she left.
I think that was a subtle hint. I didn't offer any more, but I should have.
Yeah, you should have. How we doing on the egg sales? How are those old egg laying hens that we've got? Those old.
They are still doing good. They're still having anywhere from 16 to 17 eggs a day. Yeah. And we're still selling 6 dozen at least. Obviously that a week. And that increases when we have the couple that come up from the Bay Area, because they usually want another 8 dozen when they come. Yeah. So we have to squeeze that 8 dozen in with the 6 dozen that we're.
Yeah. We are going to be, that's not enough eggs though. You're saying they're laying 16 to 18 eggs a day right now is all? There's 25 hens out there.
Sometimes there's more.
Yeah, there's 25 hens. So they're getting a little lean. And that's why we're going to be moving them out here this winter. As soon as those other chickens come online. So if we get those chickens in September, that's going to be what? It won't be till.
Don't go out there and tell them that.
It won't be till January till we start getting eggs, January, February, if they come out of the winter ready to go, which they should.
Every now and then we get one that's like the size of a quarter.
Yeah, what's that all about? Where'd that come from, huh?
I don't know. They're kind of cute. Not much in them.
Let's see. William Zegley says that you betcha. Tomorrow my wood is scheduled to be delivered. Homesteading is progressing well. Yeah, how much wood did you wind up getting, William? I probably use, what do we burn about? At least 2 cords of wood a year, and sometimes more. Mm-hmm. But we don't heat our house like
specifically with the wood stuff.
Yeah, because we kind of shut it off portions of our house in the wintertime. So, but it always is nice to get that backup. So we're going to have to actually order about another cord or maybe 2 here shortly. So along with all the other expenses that keep cropping up that she's freaking out about.
Stress me out.
Yeah, we'll just make it happen. That's important homesteading stuff. So I feel you, William. Get that firewood now, man, before it goes up in price, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, closer it gets to winter, man, it's going to be like, yeah, that cord is another, few bucks.
Yeah, we have some guys that deliver ours, and they are some hard workers, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a couple of hard workers for sure. And it got me thinking. I was thinking about a couple of things on my run today when I was out there, and it's a lot of times we get these ideas about what we're going to do, starting something new, whether it's starting a business or just a project that maybe you have, or just, a personal endeavor. And I think all of those things require a number of different things in order to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
They're all kind of different things, but they're all new, they're all novel, and they require you to have certain things in place. And I know that you can look it up online and you can find a whole list of 10 or more different things that is required to be successful at anything that you're doing. But what I'm, I guess, wanting to relay is my own view of what's needed, kind of more or less from anecdotal experience, what's required. And I think the first thing is really having like a clear vision of what it is that you want to do, right?
It is. But I also think it should be something that the market is not already flooded with. It should be kind of a fresh idea, and start small. Yeah,
that's really good to dovetail onto that. Obviously you have to have like a vision, but you can't have a vision that doesn't make sense, right? You can't just say, well, I'm going to do this. And unless it actually makes sense from the standpoint of, is this going to be successful? Because if everybody else is doing it, like you said, maybe it's not such a good idea, even though you've got a clear vision, right? But I think it's important to first have a clear vision in anything that you're doing. And I also think that it's important because everybody, when they're like starting something new, they think, oh, this is going to be great and I'm going to be a success. But it's also important to understand what it looks like. You need to envision what failure looks like. And if you fail to do that, you're kind of setting yourself up for your own failure.
Yeah.
Because you're just going to have this Pollyannic view of like, hey, this is what I'm going to do. And I've got this vision, but I don't actually know what it looks like if I were to fail.
Right. So there should always be a backup plan that you can fall back on and rely on. You don't want to be stuck with nothing.
Yeah.
And a whole lot of something you can't get rid of.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's very key and wise input. And it's also, the other thing I would say is important is having a plan, right? Whether it's a business plan or whatever, a plan is a plan, but I'm assuming there's multiple like definitions of a plan, but I actually learned this years ago, probably when I was about 22, and now I'm damn near 60-year-old man. But
you're almost to that 60.
But this definition has stuck with me for all of these years. And it's essentially three things that's contained within a plan. And the definition, as I learned it back in fireman school, what's that all about? Is that mine? Oh man, I'll have to get back with that. Yeah, I'll have to get back with that. Sorry about that, guys. So a definition of a plan is an organized sequence of events over a specific period of time to accomplish a specific objective. It's those three things. So let's just say you have this objective of, hey, I'm going to make,
You can use birdhouse as an example because I always started doing that.
Yeah. Well, you can use anything as an example. I'm going to sell this thing and I'm going to make $100,000 in doing it. Okay. So there's your objective, but you also have to understand what's the time commitment in order for that to happen.
And how much work you put into it.
What's the time commitment?
Mm-hmm.
So is that one year? Are you going to make $100,000? Is it 3 years? Is it 5 years? You have to have that time element in there, or you're not, you can just be going for 10 years, right? Oh, I'm just going to, so you have to have that time factor. That's critical, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to have an organized sequence of events. That's going to be, I'm doing X, Y, and Z. You have to do these things. And if you don't have any of those things, you're going to fail in your plan. So I just think it's important to understand that, because we all have grand ideas, do we not?
Right. So if I'm gathering you, or the way I'm taking it, is that it's easier to bite off a smaller chunk than to go from the start and visualize the finish, because you're possibly never going to make it to the finish, but you can make the smaller goals and work your way up.
Right. That's a really good observation. I would also say that the last thing that I would say that's very important in anything that we're doing in order to be successful is consistency. Mm-hmm. You have to be consistent. You have to keep showing up every day, right? Mm-hmm. You have to be consistent at anything to be good at it. It's just the way that it is. So many people look at, look what this person has, and they've got this, and they don't realize that it took a long time to get to that. It takes years of consistency.
Exactly.
So I think that's super important and critical. And I would say the last thing that you need to have in order to be successful is having passion, being passionate about the thing that you're doing. You can't go into things half speed and think that it's going to be successful. The people who are most successful they eat, breathe, and sleep the thing that they're doing in most cases, unless it, just dumb luck, but that rarely happens.
Yes. And you definitely have to enjoy it.
Yeah. And that's tied right into that passion. Mm-hmm. You're always thinking about the next move, and that, you're excited about waking up and making it happen. So I just think that that's important to do, or at least to acknowledge. Mm-hmm. But anyhow, let's see here. Michael McKnight saying, I miss our eggs. We lost all our chickens on Father's Day to a fox. Mm. We will wait until we have resettled in Florida to start with some new chickens. Would rabbits work with a compost yard? Well, they wouldn't work in the same context that I use them, but there's nothing to say that you couldn't raise rabbits and use their manure, essentially like compost. I mean, from what I understand, rabbit manure is one of the only manures that you can actually just take and use, and it doesn't have to be composted. And so they're a very good resource for that. If you're looking for fertility to add back into your soil, that would be a good thing to do. But as far as like what they would do in your chicken yard, they're not going to do any scratching. They're not going to do any moving of material like chickens do. Chickens are born and bred and are passionate about moving copious amounts of material.
And they do.
In a composting context. So, I would say that you could put them in a yard, but it wouldn't be a chicken yard. It would be a, rabbit thing or whatever. I mean, and then when you get your chickens, you can kind of integrate them in there with them in some way. You can have your hutches in a certain area and maybe, move your chickens in along with them. Might be a viable solution, but it sucks, man, that you lost all your chickens.
I would say one of the things that we experienced for the very first time is watching our chickens catch a mouse.
That's something that they don't do often, but they do that. So that might be something new for you, but it's something that they do. I have seen them do it, not often.
Ours. You've seen ours do it?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes. Yeah, they're not going to do it, generally speaking, when one runs by them in the chicken yard, but when it's in their actual coop, I've seen them get after them before.
Oh, I didn't know that. That was the first time that I saw them catch one, and of course, everybody wanted a piece.
Yeah, that's what they do. Good thing they're not as big as us, or we'd be in real trouble. Mm-hmm. let's see. What do you, my wood is scheduled to be delivered. Homestead progress. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Bill. He says one kind of wood, 2x8x16 for the second floor addition in the barn.
Oh, so you're not going to be burning that kind.
Copy that, man. Yeah. Well, that's cool, man. You're making some progress on your build. So that's always exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's super exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. Ours is firewood that we have delivered.
Yeah. No, we were, I guess I just misunderstood what you were referring to. Would you text this guy back, Rebecca, real quick, that just called me, and just let him know that I'll call him when I'm done. So, but, I was out today, on a run.
Yeah.
And oftentimes when I'm out on runs, I use that time to kind of like process things mentally. And one of the things that crossed my mind today, and I guess I can ask you this question now that you're engaged in trying to figure that out.
I know. Go ahead and ask me, because I haven't done it.
Okay. I was going to ask you, who inspires you, since we're talking about, being inspired to do big things and, take on new ventures and do things that are hard. Who inspires you to do what you do outside of your family? Because it's always, whenever that question is generally posed to people, the default answer is like, oh, I'm inspired by my dad, or I'm inspired by my parents, or I'm inspired by my children, or, I'm inspired because, my grandchildren, whatever. Right. And so outside of your family unit, who inspires you? And it's not what I'm asking isn't a specific person. It could be somebody.
Let me answer the question.
Okay.
So what inspires me a lot of times is people who are born, say maybe with only 3 out of 4 of their limbs, yet they still can function. They adapt, and they're able to go on and live their life. So that's one that I just find absolutely amazing. And how do you not love life if they can do that? Why can you complain, or why should you complain?
Right.
I mean, so I find that very inspiring. Also, I find young children who have the skills to communicate and are willing to engage with an older person and sit there. This is actually from this weekend. I sat and talked to this young boy, and he just held a conversation with me for, I'm going to guess, at least 45 minutes. And I found that very inspiring, because he had the social skills.
Yeah.
And I think that's lacking in our kids. So I really appreciated that and enjoyed that. Yeah,
no, I agree. I agree with both of those things that you said. I think that it's, far too often people make excuses for, woe is me, and, my life sucks and this and that. But when you see somebody truly with a disability, and generally speaking, those are the people with the best attitude, and they're just all perky and, just getting along with life. And it's like, man, how is that not inspiring? Because I'm sitting here, I got the use of all my arms and my legs, and I can see in color, and I can hear, and I can get up and walk wherever I want. And I have all that going for me. But yet some people want to just like bitch and bemoan about, oh, this sucks and that sucks. And it's like, when you see that, it is truly inspiring. So I concur with that. That wasn't exactly what I was going to say for me, but both of those things that you talked about, I think are, super good.
Yeah, because I think with our younger kids, going back to the young boy who I had a long conversation with, and he was just asking me a variety of questions about the dog and things that were going on. And I think that our younger generation really, really lacks that social interaction to be able to sit and have a conversation. And anyway, so I really appreciated that.
Yeah, I
appreciated that.
I think it's almost an indictment against the parents. Not to say that if you're good parents and you try to instill that in your kids, they can still be, not doing those things that you instilled. But when you see children doing that, they come up and they stick their hand out and want to shake your hand and look you in the eye. You know that they had good parents. Their parents said, hey, you go over there and you shake that dude's hand. Be a man, or whatever. And you just see kids that are well behaved like that. You know, they had good upbringing. I think that, again, that is something that is inspiring. It's not who inspires me. It just gives me a warm and fuzzy feeling. Good evening, Bobby. How are you doing tonight? Good to see you, man.
Hello, Bobby.
I would say who inspires me. It could be a lot of different people, right? It could be, a religious figure, religious leader. It could be a business leader in business. It could be somebody who's in their industry leading. But who actually inspires me is like athletes that are at the top of their game, because those are the people that actually put the work in to get there. Now, of course, the people that are at the very, very top are athletically, or I should say genetically predisposed or gifted in that way. But that doesn't mean that they got to be where they're at by sitting around saying, "Oh, I'm genetically gifted." They put in the fucking work, and people always look at people that are successful like that, and then they somehow want that success, but they don't realize what it took to get there. And those are the people that are doing something when nobody's looking, right? You only see Usain Bolt run for 10 seconds, but you don't see the thousands of hours of practice that took him to that point where he's somebody that people look up to, like, wow, look at that guy. He's amazing.
Yeah.
Right. And those are the people that actually inspire me, because they're doing and putting in the hard work when nobody's looking.
Yes.
Yeah. Anything else to add? Chase Peoples in the house. What's up, brother? Haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you, man. Thanks for joining us. Hope things are well with you and yours down there. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would say that there was a lady that inspired me this weekend.
That's true. Well, let's talk about that a little bit, because we actually were out of town the past couple of days. We just got back yesterday, and we took a trip up to Oregon, a little short notice for you to run a race. It was a 15-kilometer race up in about right around Ashland, Oregon.
Yeah.
And so to the layperson or the American, right, because we're not talking kilometers, that's kind of hard to know what that is. That's actually 9.3 miles. And there was probably about 1,200 feet of gain on this. So it's on a trail and up at elevation and all that. So she ran that yesterday. And how'd that go?
That was good. It's always, for me, getting going, it's always that first mile or two. And then I kind of click in, and then it starts to become easy. So first mile, I'm kind of breathing heavy. And then it starts to pan out. This particular race was pretty awesome because part of it was ran on the PCT, which is a section that we've hiked. And so that was a nice revisit to that area. People were very nice in the fact that if they could hear behind you, because on the PCT, it's a single track, they would step aside and allow you to pass, which was really nice. There was times...
No, I was going to say, before the race started, one of the things Rebecca said to me, I was just like, "Hey, how you feeling? Are you feeling like you're going to meet your goals here or whatever? And, are you ready for this?" And she says, "Yeah, the one thing that I got is I ain't getting beat by her."
There was a lady that I was very adamant that I was not going to get beaten by. If I got beat by her, I was selling everything I owned and never running again.
Turns out.
Now we'll go on with this race, and finished up. It was an out and back, and coming around, I'm coming back to the race, and I had set a goal in my head that I was going to do this in 2 hours and 2.5 hours. So I was pretty excited that I did it in 2 hours and 6 minutes.
That's awesome.
So I met my goal.
Yeah.
But afterwards we sat, and as I said, I visited with that young boy, but we also were having a meal, and we were visiting with other people that were there, and we got to see the lady that I did not want to get beaten by come through.
Yeah.
In the time given, you're given 3 hours to finish this race.
She finished it with 4 hours to spare.
With 4 minutes to spare.
You want to know how old she was?
She was 88 years old.
88 years old, guys. No excuses. And it was freaking hot yesterday. This lady was frail. And that's why Rebecca was like, she ain't beating me. Right? I ain't losing to her. I can lose to everybody else, but it ain't going to be her. And so good on her, man. I mean, when I see stuff like that, that inspires me, because what really bothers me actually is when people like make excuses for why I'm doing what I'm doing. Like, well, when are you going to stop doing what you're doing? Aren't you getting kind of old to run 100 miles? And it's like, no, I'm still getting up every day. I'm still getting after my goals and my dreams and living my life. And that's what that lady was doing. And it was super cool when she came across. It was like 4 minutes to spare.
It was so cute because all of her family was around her and everything. And they were saying, there's still people behind you.
There was.
You did great. And there were like 6 more people that came in after her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one of them being 34 years old.
Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah. Why don't you see if you can just let him know that I'll give him a call or whatever.
Did he call you or did he?
He called and then I hung up on him. So I have a quote, and this is just a quote from somebody, and it's kind of along the same lines of what we're talking about here, about accomplishment and dreams and pursuing your goals, no matter what they are. They don't have to be athletic in nature. They can be anything that you're doing, but it's important to have goals, and it's important to set those goals for yourself and to try to achieve them. But here's that quote, Rebecca. You might want to listen to this because I think it's a good one. It says, winning isn't about finishing in first place. It isn't about beating the others. It's about overcoming yourself, overcoming your body, your limitations, and your fears. Winning means surpassing yourself and turning your dreams into reality. And you have any idea who that's from?
I do not.
Yeah, that is from one of the best ultra runners of all time. His name is Killian Joure.
Oh.
Yeah, and Killian, for probably many of the people in this audience, they probably never heard him, but he is what they refer to as the GOAT. He's the Michael Jordan of the sport. And he's been winning since he was a very young man, and he's still crushing it at age 37. And age 37 isn't old by any stretch of the imagination in the sport. But you start to lose a step when you get to that age. And he stepped it up here in a way that I didn't think was possible here at Western States a few weeks back. I mean, it was an incredible time he ran, and it was pretty inspiring. But anyhow, I just thought that quote was apropos for what we were talking about.
Was TRT.
Just tell him I'll give him a call later.
Is that him? Is what I'm asking.
Yeah. Yeah, it was the first call right there.
Okay.
So I'll give him a call. Lance Armstrong. Yeah, that dude, man. Yeah, big hero to a lot of people. Unfortunately, he was in an era where he was in the doping era. And he's the one that got pegged for it because he was the most winning cyclist at that time. But the entire tour was doping. They were all doing it, just like they were all doing it, or many people were doing it in a lot of different sports in the 90s and around that time. But yeah, he's quite an incredible athlete in his own right. So that's good, sweetie. So I also, I guess, wanted just to briefly acknowledge a lady that I did not know, but she passed away this past weekend. She was running a race in Colorado. It's called the Hard Rock Endurance Run. Very, very difficult, not only to get into, but to actually run in. Very difficult. The average elevation is 11,000 feet, and it goes up to 14,000 feet on a couple of occasions. And, it's just an incredibly demanding and grueling race. And she was 6 miles into this race on Saturday, and she died. And I just wanted to acknowledge, that kind of sucks for her and her family.
Mm-hmm.
She was a very experienced and accomplished ultra runner, mother of 3 from Michigan, or was it Michigan or Minnesota? One of the two. And she was 60 years old.
Did they ever say what she died from?
They haven't indicated why. My take is it's something probably would have happened anyhow, because she was only 3 hours into the damn thing, 6 miles into it. And she's an accomplished athlete. She's got over 100 ultra marathons to her name. And in fact, she was in the race that I was in Wyoming about 3.5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I ran that race in Wyoming, in Wyoming, Bighorn 100. And she ran and finished that race a little bit behind me. And then just died. So I don't know. She probably would have died at some point anyhow. She had some probably congenital thing or something happened. Who knows? It could have been a bee sting and she had an allergic reaction. I don't know. But I just wanted to acknowledge her and her family. So,
by the way, I forgot to take my kit with me.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. But anyhow.
Sorry.
Did you text him?
I did.
All right. Thank you. So, gosh darn it, man. I'm ever more convinced that this year it should be called the year of broken things.
Yes.
So,
at least for us.
Yes. It's just one thing after the next, guys. It's just things are breaking left and right and going kind of sideways on us. A lot of unforeseen expenses have been popping up that we just had to absorb. But, let me acknowledge the obvious, which is if you're a homeowner, you own a car, you own something of value, it's going to deteriorate. It's going to break down. It's going to need ongoing repairs and preventative maintenance. That's just necessary to keep things in working order. But what I don't expect is the unexpected to happen. And I guess that's the lesson for this whole, me even bringing it up, is maybe we should expect the unexpected, right? We should always be prepared for that thing that might happen. And so it's important to not only prepare yourself financially to absorb when those things happen, but it's just, you can't get too comfortable and complacent to think that they aren't going to happen. But for us this year, it's like,
they happened. They all happened.
It's like, it's just everything. It just keeps, oh, there's another thing. Perfect. Let's just deal with that too. But anyhow, we were on our way up to this race that Rebecca ran yesterday or this weekend. And we had just gotten back on the freeway. We're headed up this grade outside of Wairika and just almost getting ready to get into the Oregon, cross the state line.
Mm-hmm.
And I had asked Rebecca, hey, would you go back and grab me something out of the refrigerator or whatever? So you got up, you went back to the fridge, and what happened next?
There was this horrendous sound. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. It was so incredibly loud.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me a minute to regroup. And then I said, did we just get a flat tire?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. I blew an inside dual at about, 65 miles an hour, and it made a hell of a noise, and things going all over the place. And so I pull over to the side, and of course it tore the hanger off for my exhaust, and the exhaust pipes hanging down, and my mud flaps all jacked up, and so it's just like one thing after the next. But we managed to get ourselves righted after a couple of hours. We utilized AAA, emergency roadside service, and how many times have we used that this year? We have definitely, it has paid for itself.
We have used it at least 3 times for 3 different vehicles.
Getting towed to places and a couple of flat repairs and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Yes. So it's definitely been a blessing for us to have the AAA card.
Yeah, no, we've had AAA for 30 years or more?
At least.
Yeah. And they've been a good insurance company for us.
I've had AAA since I was 16, so a little more than 30 years.
Yeah. Yeah. You're got to be getting close to 40, huh? You're somewhere
around there. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I'll go with that.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyhow, it's just been one of those things. And then of course, coming home, the toilet breaks and, um,
Foul smell.
do you need to bring that up? I mean, people could probably draw that inference that it's a toilet that's broken, it probably smells bad down there.
Yes.
You want to talk about how much more bad it smells?
You roll down the window and you're like,
are you proud of yourself?
Something wrong with
Are you proud of yourself?
Is there something wrong with the bathroom?
All right. Stop. All right. We're moving on. Oh, God. This is bad.
We have fun.
Oh, man. Dean says problem-solving opportunities after cussing and yelling is over with. Oh, man. Yeah. That's what we've been doing around here is trying to solve problems.
And even on our Tesla, we've had problems, or not problems, but a problem with that.
Right. Well, the only problem is, check this out. I have no idea, but I got this bolt in the tire. It's got obviously monitors on everything. And so it says, hey, your tire pressure is low. So I'm like, okay, whatever. How did that happen? I went and put air into the tire. And then as I'm putting air in the tire, I look up and I can see this bolt sticking out of the tire. And I have it's not like we've been driving off road with it or anything. So it picked it up somewhere inadvertently. Mm-hmm. And so, I went down to Les Schwab to ask them how to go about repairing this, because these tires have like a dampening foam on the inside of them. It's not just your regular tire. It's like got this foam in there. And then they've got all the sensors, the TPMS system on there. So this is all stuff I'm learning. And so I went down there.
But you lucked out, right?
I did, because the gal that did my tire repair, she said, oh, yeah, I used to work down in Rockland, which is where we bought the thing, and they're everywhere. She says, these things would come in all day long. She says, I love working on these things. So they put her on the case, and she knew all about it. But, essentially I got to cut a little patch out of the inside, and then they patch it, from there, and then they check all the stuff and do everything. But I was a little concerned because this is not a car that I'm used to working on, even a tire change.
So Eric, with all his handsomeness, didn't even get charged.
Yeah, she was nice. She was very nice. So I didn't know what was up with that, but I was cool with it. Yeah, she was very nice.
I think she was sweet on you.
I don't think that. She was young. I'm old. But anyhow, I wanted to ask you, Rebecca, this is something that I guess we sort of hinted and alluded to a little bit last week, as it relates to Donald Trump and his presidency. We can maybe go over that again, because you had put this threshold of 6 months on assessing how he's doing and all. And so we are now, let's stop with that. Hey, stop. With, it's now 6 months. So I guess I wanted to just ask you, what do you think he's done, as far as the job he's done? Are you happy? Or are you dissatisfied? Or what's your thought? Because I think that both of us were very much on the Trump train, and we were very enthusiastic about seeing the progress that could potentially be made with the incoming administration. And I don't know, what's your thoughts at this point?
I would say that I'm a little bit confused and disappointed.
Yes. Do you have any grade that you'll attach to where you think he's at this point for you?
Right now, he's sliding. I think the last time we talked, he is. I think the last time we talked, I gave him a C, and I would give him a C- to a D+ right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty disillusioned as well. Just a little disgusted. Starting with the whole, Elon dust up thing. I just think that was very poorly handled. I know people come and go in your administration, but you have somebody that comes in and essentially does what Elon did. Now, I don't know, he may have come in and pissed people off, which probably happened, but the guy donated how many millions of dollars to your campaign, and then you fucking turn your back on them like that. I don't know. I think that's a bad look for me. Maybe other people don't have a problem with it. Here's a guy that his company comes up and rescues people that are stranded in fucking space, and he doesn't get like the time of day for any of that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that kind of stuff. It's, for me, it's kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth that there wasn't a better way to end that relationship if the relationship needed to end. And it's not all Donald Trump's fault, but he is the president.
Mm-hmm.
It is his administration. And Elon is one dude. So I think it kind of falls back to the president. You know, president's making a lot of concessions for other people that have donated to his campaign. And we've talked about that before as it relates to Israel and a lot of other promises and things that he has done. And, you know, I'm not here to advocate for Elon. I'm just saying that was kind of like the first step for me that turned me a little south on the guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I still, and I don't know why, but I still think that they will make amends.
Yeah, well, you keep hoping that maybe it'll happen. You know, I keep hoping that if my teeth fall out, I'm going to get a fucking dollar underneath my pillow. So you keep hoping that.
I will.
Yeah, let me know if it happens. But
and
anyhow,
you probably did get a dollar underneath your pillow when your tooth fell out. So
I did when I was a kid. Dean says that he stepped off the train at the last station. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just really wish it wasn't that for me. To be honest, I wish it wasn't. I wish I didn't feel the way that I feel right now about Trump, but I just feel that way. And it has to go. I think he's a person who's fairly disloyal, you know, and that matters to me. I don't like when a person says something about how great you are and then he can turn your back on you. That to me is a serious like flaw. And that's just me. Maybe other people, they don't have a problem with that and they just think it's all fine and good. But I think when you can do that to somebody, you know, you're no kind of friend. You're no kind of person that like can be trusted. And I wouldn't trust that guy, to be honest. He tells a good joke and he's awesome on the stump, right? Good campaigner. But, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, I would have to say I don't know either. And in my opinion, is probably not going to change much unless he's able to turn things around. But that's something that's going to have to happen fairly rapidly. Yeah.
So let me ask you, do you think that the disruption within, you know, the MAGA base, if you will, do you think that he's you think he's compromised, or is he just navigating the reality of governance versus campaigning?
I don't know what he's doing.
You know, because
I'm not sure he knows what he's doing right now.
There's a difference between being the guy who has to govern and being somebody who's just up there throwing shit out there like, hey, elect me, I'll do these things. Right. And I don't know. It's just weird to me that there's so much he could go after that would actually make his base happy. There's so much that he could do, but he's not doing any of it.
Well, that's a problem. I don't know if he's being controlled by somebody else, because I think honestly, if it were just him without somebody over the top of him trying to dictate to him what he's got to do, I think that he actually would step up and do the right thing. But
no, let me ask you.
I would say the deep state probably has a
right. Don't you think that
grip on him?
It's since it's been proven without a question of a doubt that Hillary and her campaign helped fund and was behind pushing and promoting the Steele dossier, which basically pushed the narrative that Donald Trump was a Russian asset. That came from Hillary Clinton. Why wouldn't he want to go after her? Is it because as he said, oh, that would be very unbecoming of a president for me to have to lock her up. But don't you remember years ago, he was sitting there up on the stump using that as a campaign tool to say, lock her up. But now he has the opportunity to do that. And maybe it doesn't have to be Hillary, but there's plenty of people who
There's a whole lot of them.
a whole lot of deep staters that could be locked up, and he's not doing any of it.
Yeah, so I think that there's something deeper going on that we're not totally aware of.
Right.
Or we have somewhat of an idea, but don't know.
Here's another very blatant example for me. You know, I don't expect Donald Trump to come out now that he's president and talking shit like, hey, we're going to drain the swamp and, let's get rid of the deep state. I don't expect him to come out and verbally say that, because it would be very foolishly for him to overtly say that. But why isn't there anything being legitimately done behind the scenes that his base can see he's actually doing something to drain the swamp? Case in point, perfect example. You've got the Department of Government Efficiency, but none of that's being made permanent. Nobody who's done anything that's illegal, and there's plenty of people who have done illegal things with taxpayer money. Nobody's being held to account for that. No investigations coming from Pam Bondi or anybody on his side of things. It's all being orchestrated. Everything that's coming out of Pam Bondi's mouth is coming from Donald Trump. They're all on the same page. Nobody's acting as an independent, like, oh, I'm going out on a limb and doing this. Maybe earlier when they couldn't get their shit together and they're pointing the finger like Keystone cops at each other. Maybe then they didn't have their shit together. But when it came down to releasing the Epstein list here this last week, they were all on board. Oh, we need to move on from this. We there was children that were raped. There was victims, hundreds of them. But are they still talking about this guy? We need to move on.
Yeah.
It's weird though, right?
It's weird. Yeah, it's weird. Part of me, I guess, thinks that on his way out, that
God, here we go with this.
It is complete conspiracy theory. I know you're going to say that.
You're like QAnon over here. What are you talking about? Oh, well, you just wait. This is 4D chess. It's going to all come together. No, it's not. None of this is going to happen. And you have to be okay with that.
I realize that.
I've accepted it.
I realize that chances are that nothing is going to, but you got to leave just a little window of possibility. Don't shut him down 100%. No. He has done stuff.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And maybe he does have a plan in there that we are not aware of. I know. Chances are slim. Chances are real slim.
I
but
hope that he does.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah, you go ahead.
So when we were gone yesterday, how long did it take you to figure out that you had your shirt on inside out?
Where did I go? Did I leave the house?
We were at the race.
What do you mean we were at the race? You didn't say anything?
No.
Why did you not say something?
The tag just flapping on the side.
Oh, I'm going to get you back on that one. Cool. Thank you. That's a good one. Yeah.
Actually, it really wasn't that noticeable unless you saw the tag, because the shirt kind of looked the same on the outside as it did on the inside. So most people probably wouldn't have noticed.
But
I noticed.
You did.
I
That's
noticed.
Fantastic. Thank you. Terminator, how are you doing? Hope things are well up there in Canada. It's awesome to see you as always. Let's see here. Yeah. So Dean says, and because if they took Hillary down, if she goes down, she's taken half of DC with her. I think here's, there may be a lot of truth to what you say there. I guess from my opinion, because here's something to think about. They keep saying, oh, the left would have used this Epstein thing against Trump. He's not on the list, because they would have said, well, then they would have had to implicate everybody that's on that list. It wouldn't have just been Donald Trump and, that's all the only person on the list. No. The thing that should tell you everything about what you need to know is, how come the Democrats aren't screaming at the top of their lungs right now? Why don't you hear, what's his name? The little dude with the glasses. Schumer. Don't you see that guy and Jeffries and all their leadership is pretty silent on this. They're not really like saying, hey, let's release the list.
The little guy with the glasses.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Chuck Schumer.
Yeah. So you know what I'm saying?
That guy's dirty as could be.
Nobody's saying anything from that side of the aisle. Like, hey, this is their opportunity to make Trump look bad because he's looking bad with his base. His base wants his shit, like for the most part, released. And not just because of who's on it. I just think that it signals to the rest of us who have to live in a society where, it's obvious that we're just in a two-tier justice system, and that's the way it's always going to be. Because even the people we elect to run the government don't run the government. If Donald Trump is now a puppet of the deep state and they've shut his mouth and told him what he's going to do and which countries he's going to align with to defend, it's not really the people that are in charge, that we get to elect our people. We elected him, but what's he doing now? Who's he serving now? Is he serving his base? The people that actually put him there to say, hey, we really support you cleaning up waste, fraud, and abuse. That's a fucking pipe dream. Nothing's happening there.
Not that we know of.
No, well, they're putting out, hey, we're cutting this and we're canceling these contracts and all this other stuff. All that's going to happen is that they're going to add water as soon as he leaves, and it's going to fucking blow up like a sponge. It's just a sponge right now that's having the water sucked out of it, but the sponge isn't leaving. But as soon as they leave, hey, guess what? Oh, they're stupid Americans. They forgot all about that. Let's just add some water to the sponge, and pretty soon it's just going to be this bloated monstrosity again. That was a nice pipe dream that sounded good, that got him elected, but nothing's being done. He's not putting pressure on anyone in Congress to say, let's do this. He's more interested in saying, let's put all this shit into one big, beautiful bill and pass business as usual. We'll have some good things in there that conservatives can say, look what we got, and a bunch of stuff sprinkled in there that the Democrats can say, look what we got. It's the same shit they've been doing for decades. Meanwhile, growing the size and scope of government and expecting us to be happy about it, right? Don't piss on me and tell me it's raining, because that's what's happening here.
It's raining.
Yeah. Okay. Anyhow, it's just a point of frustration for me, because I really saw a lot of potential in what could happen with the Trump administration. But I think the fact that he's been very tone deaf, and probably because of those puppet strings are being pulled, because he's very astute at knowing what is going on in the like with the people. He's got his ear on what they're saying and what the polling is and the mood and all this other stuff. Even his surrogates are trying to run cover for him. Charlie Kirk and all the rest of these fucking guys that are out there, they're just bootlickers. They're going to all say the right thing to just stay in his good graces, because they don't want to piss off Donald Trump. Because if you do that and you haven't, aligned yourself with the appropriate members of the deep state, you're just like everybody else. You're like Elon. You're going to get cut out of the loop.
If in fact he's cut out of the loop.
Because here we go again with this, right?
They might be buddy. You don't know.
40 chess. Anyhow. Yeah, I agree. Dean, thought it was very interesting that the Democrats were and are oddly quiet. Yeah, it's pretty obvious, man. If you think about it, why are they not capitalizing on this? Because they capitalize on everything. Everybody who should be like going, yeah, well, this makes Trump look bad. They ain't saying a damn thing. Wonder why that is.
Because it's going in their favor.
Right. And of course they come out like the next day and say, yeah, we're going to go after Comey and his little sidekick. Right. We're going to hoping that will take some of the edge off of this whole Epstein debacle. That sounds good. And they're going to probably run some magic and stuff. But I guarantee you none of those dudes are going to do any serious time, if they do any at all. For all the crimes that they've committed, this is just a show. That's all it is, man.
Mhm.
And I'm convinced of that. Nobody's going to jail except you and me. If we were to do any of these things, even a portion of what these people have done, we would be going to jail. And that's the society that we live in. We've got a society that protects pedophiles and abuses young people sexually and expects the rest of us just to move on and think, oh, well, let's not talk about that because that's a little edgy, right? That's harmful content. But it's sickening, man, to think that that's what's going on. And then to think that, Trump is looking the other way on that. And I'm not so certain that he wasn't involved, just like Elon said, that he possibly is on that list. There's no proof of that. And none of us will ever know. It'll just be like, it'll just be like who killed JFK.
Right. Well, and Elon may not be wrong. Trump may be on the list, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he was involved in pedophilia.
It doesn't. I mean, I will say that I've heard, and we both listened to that that tape from that lady. And now whether or not she's credible, don't know that. I don't know that she isn't credible though. And the things that she was saying about Trump specifically and the things that he was engaging with her on, I found it to be kind of like a little bit disturbing to think, oh, that's really, if that's true, that's what that dude was doing. It sounded very in character of what he would have said and how he would have responded to her. But that's just one person, right? I don't know. It's just interesting how nobody else is speaking when there's hundreds of victims. Maybe they don't want to get like whacked. Could that possibly be?
That could be a high possibility.
Maybe they just want to move on with their life and they don't want to have to drag this shit out. They want to like block off that part of their memory. I could see where that would be entirely possible for people. Would you want to hash this up? Would you want to have yourself put it before a court?
I am sure there's a majority of them that do not want to relive all of the horrible stuff that happened to them.
Right. So I don't know. I'm not convinced that he didn't do something improper. There's those that say, oh, he was only on Epstein Island twice, and when he was there, he was with his daughter and with his wife. But you know what? Jeffrey Epstein had properties in Manhattan. He had properties in
New York.
Yeah, that's New York. In Manhattan. He also had properties in Florida. And he had properties in New Mexico, along with his island, all of which had surveillance cameras and things in them. Do your research on that. Just do your research on that. That's all I'll say. They all had material retrieved from there when Epstein was arrested and those properties were raided. But yet, it's nowhere. There's no conspiracy. There was nobody that was being blackmailed. There was nobody. All of those things that we were told, we're just expected to believe like we're stupid fucking Americans and just move on. Go pay your taxes, sheep. 60%, that'll be fine. I'll take that. And then I'll send it over to Israel or Ukraine or Mozambique and open up our borders. We were just having a conversation just like yesterday because I was talking about a time when I went to a fire on what's called Angel Island, which is just outside of San Francisco Bay. It's actually in San Francisco Bay. It's got a nice view of Alcatraz and you can see the Golden Gate Bridge and the Bay Bridge. And I mean, you're just right in the water there. And I was put on a barge. My vehicle was put on a barge. So I had my vehicle on the island to drive around, and we took our fire crews out there, inmates and such, on this big ferry, and we fought fire out on this island. And it was interesting to know that Angel Island used to be a reception point for immigration at one point. It was also a military installation prior to that, but it was also later used as a reception area for immigration. similar to, they actually called it Little Ellis Island. So it was similar to the island that used to be over on the East Coast, where immigrants would have to pass through in order to be accepted into the United States of America. And so we had one here, Angel Island, which was kind of a unique opportunity for me just to kind of be in that place.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't do that anymore. You know that? We've got borders, but they just open them up. I know this president hasn't done that. He's secured the borders, which I think that's like a baseline of what every president should do. He shouldn't get fucking patted on the back for that. You know, like, hey, good job, Trump. You're doing what you're supposed to do. The last guy didn't do it. So kudos on you, thankfully. Right?
Yep.
But I don't know.
But in that, they used to also check them for different diseases and
all that.
Yeah.
They were made so that they weren't a burden on society. They had to have a sponsor. They had to have all these things, right? You know, there were like standards for coming into our country, and now we've reached a point where it's just like, oh no, we're a nation of immigrants. Just everybody can come here. It's fine. It'll be okay. Yeah, we don't. I guess we vote, but none of our votes matter as it relates to that, because politicians just open shit up so that they can get more votes. Mm-hmm. But anyhow, I'm kind of ranting on that. I'm a little fired up.
You got on one there.
Yeah. So why don't you talk a little bit more about your 4D chess plan over there and how things are going to just even themselves out? What do you think?
I don't know that they're going to. I just tossed that out because I knew that would get underneath your skin.
Right.
I would love to think that there's a deeper plan. I would absolutely love to think that.
Got to see it though.
That there's a deeper plan to make things work. And I've always said that for him to pull off anything, he needs to keep his mouth shut. Yeah. And just do it.
Has Trump ever done that?
Because if he's out saying, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to do, they're going to squash it. Mm-hmm. But if he doesn't say anything, then it's more likely to happen.
Tim Riley says, I think that our own government is actually involved and complicit in the Epstein blackmail tactics. Well, there's definitely speculation as to that, Tim. I know that they've also implied, some people have implied that not only our government, but different governments like Israel's intelligence agencies, Mossad, and then MI6, the British intelligence agency, might as well have some involvement. I don't know if they do or not. But I do find it interesting just how we've gotten to this place where it's now 180 degrees from what was originally stated and promised. You know, again, maybe that's because governance is much different than campaigning. But I also think that Donald Trump wasn't a noob going into this. He was a second-term president. And so I don't know why he would have made those types of claims campaigning for the job that we gave him if he was going to willingly just flip on it and then look at the people who are saying, hey, what the fuck, dude? What's this all about? And now he's turning on those people saying, oh, well, you're this or you're that. It's like, no, dude, you're getting it twisted, I think. Mm-hmm. So anyhow.
Yeah.
You have anything else on that?
Unfortunately, it is definitely not what we voted on.
Most people didn't.
Yes, most people.
Yeah. Maybe some people like don't give a shit, but I just think that it's, for one, I think it's a huge problem because foreign governments may have influence over our elected officials, right? Mm-hmm. So an elected official says, oh, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that, or I'm going to impose these sanctions, or I'm going to pull this aid that I've been giving you for your military operation or whatever it happens to be. That's just one example, allegedly. And then they say, well, check this out. And the dude opens up like his email and there's a picture or video of him engaged in some sex act. It says, well, maybe we should renegotiate that. So don't you think that it's like not cool if foreign governments have information that could have our politicians and our powerful people in this country in a compromising way because of what influence that may hold over them.
Absolutely.
So I think that that's a very plausible scenario, given the fact that we aren't really given any answers to something that's very obvious to everybody. The guy was convicted of all of these crimes. There's a woman currently in jail for conspiring to traffic, these people. But yet we're being told there's nothing to see here.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't at all. And then so again, it's a huge problem for me. Maybe other people are like, yeah, dude, shut up. Stop talking about this. This is old news. Let's talk about the big, beautiful bill and, whatever else is going on in the news today. But no, this is something that should be talked about. And if people don't want to talk about it, they can not listen or they can not talk about it. But in this context tonight, I'm talking about it.
You are talking about it.
So what else do you want to talk about? Because we're about ready to wrap it up. I need to make a phone call. And what's up?
Yeah, I don't know that I have much more to say. I think we pretty much covered everything that we have going on here, other than our vehicles are falling apart and sort of, and we've had to repair them. And obviously there's still more damage. We have to get a new toilet in our.
Yes, we did cover all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that cracked me up, but
Dean Mullis says members of Congress should not have dual citizenship. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think that members of Congress should also have term limits, but that'll never happen because the fox is guarding the hen house. That fly is going to die when I get off this live stream, let me tell you. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think we can do better. I don't know how we can do better when there's a, an infestation in government that really shouldn't be there. And I think that infestation is just the deep state. It's the members that just get recycled from one agency to the next to, now we're in a cabinet position. But this administration comes in and now they're a lobbyist over here, just kind of waiting their time. They're biding, their time. And then when that person rolls out, guess what? There's a whole new crop of people that get to come in and be advisors and, all these people that are just in the thing. And it's become this thing that I think our founders would just be going like, man, what did we do? Yeah. This is not what we intended right here.
Well, I think I've said for quite a while that there should be term limits and you're done. You don't get to just shift to another position. You're done.
That would make so much sense, but it's not, I don't think the way we'll ever see things moving forward in the country. It's nothing we can really do to change it. We can just kind of sit here and complain about it and, but I do think it's important to share thoughts as it relates to these things, because what are you going to do? Just withhold your feelings and not express them in a way that gets that out there?
Yeah. No, you need to express yourself.
Okay. Well, thanks guys for joining us. Appreciate you coming in and spending a bit of time with us. It's been fun, but I can tell Rebecca over here, she's ready to tap out. She's like telling me it's time to get off, but I'll leave things up to her.
I'm a little exhausted from yesterday's run. Let me just put it that way. And then all of the excitement with the tire blowing out and our poor dog, it's like she was gone for a month. She has climbed up in her bed and has been asleep until just recently. And that is only because we're doing the live stream. She's got to be a part.
Right on.
But yes, I'm ready for rest. I'm ready to go put the chickens up, have some dinner, and relax.
Yeah, well, we'll do that. Thanks for joining us again tonight, guys. And go out tomorrow and try to make it better than it was today. Make yourself better than you were today.
Absolutely. Good evening.
And homesteading is not harmful content.